Welcome back to Jen's Jungle, and today I'm setting up a bioactive enclosure for my African Pygmy Dormice. So I'm starting off with a 3 foot by 2 foot by 2 foot vivarium, and to the bottom of that I'm adding some BioLife balls. These are little clay balls which will absorb any moisture from the bioactive setup. A drainage layer is a really important part of a bioactive setup, so I'm just making sure this is nice and even across the bottom of the vivarium. On top of that, I'm going to add some bioactive mesh. This is just a cover for the ball, so it keeps the drainage layer away from the substrate layer. This I've just cut to the right size. This matting you can easily buy from most reptile places. So that's the drainage and bottom layer done. So now I'm going to make my substrate. So to start off, I've got a cocoa block, and I'm just going to add some water to this to dissolve it. You can see here it expands as you add the water. This does take a little bit of time, but this is a great natural substance for your bioactive setups, and it is completely safe for reptiles and small animals. I'm just adding some more water to it, and then I'm going to break down the big block and give it a mix. As you can see, it does really expand to a lot. So I previously kept my dormice in a sort of more traditional setup with aspen bedding, and although it had a naturalistic theme with sort of ceramic houses, wooden houses, and lots of wooden climbing opportunities, I wanted to go for something even more natural, hence going bioactive. Although at first it won't be truly bioactive, as I won't be adding the cleanup crew just yet. So at the moment it will technically just be a naturalistic setup, but with the hope of going bioactive one day. So to the cocoa core I'm adding some sand. This is just play sand, which again is safe to use and it's a lot cheaper than reptile sand. This is great for retaining moisture. Most soils in the wild are not 100% soil, they are a mixture, and most African soils include sand, hence why this makes a great addition to their setup. I'm also adding some bark chips to this. I want to make this a nice varied substance for them. And then I'm adding some charcoal. Now this is so that if I add cleanup crew in the future, this will help them breed and give them a breeding medium. This is great for stuff like springtails. And then I'm adding some leaf litter. So this is great for the dormice, but will also be great for any cleanup crew as they can eat it. And then finally I'm adding some moss. Again, this will help retain moisture to the substrate. So once I've added all that together, I'm just going to give it a really good mix around. Hopefully this is quite a naturalistic substance for them, nice and varied, and will be great for them to dig in and explore in, and will also be great for future cleanup crew. There will be 3 dormice living in this, my 3 male dormice. So it's a nice big enclosure for them. Dormice must be kept in groups. You can keep them in single-sexed or mixed-sexed colonies, but of course if you're keeping them in mixed-sexed colonies you can expect to have rather a large group quickly. So once that's all mixed together well, I'm going to add this to my enclosure. I'm just spreading it out nice and evenly, making sure everything is well covered. Hopefully the dormice won't dig down too far to the drainage layer, but it's protected by the matting anyway. Now I'm just adding the final few bits in. So that's the substrate layer complete, and I really love how it looks. So I'm now going to add some hides into them. So I have still got some wooden house style hides. but I just think these are so cute, and the dormice love them. And as they're wooden, I think they'll still fit in okay. Then I'm adding this really cute tree trunk ceramic hide, which is fantastic. It's made for reptiles, but the dormice can use it. And then I'm adding this hanging house full of aspen for them to bury in. Although it's mainly naturalistic in this, they're used to burying in aspen, so I've still added some of that into some of their favourite spots, so it's not too big an adjustment for them. And then adding some cork platforms and also some climbing trees. Again, these are all reptile supplies. I often find I use more reptile supplies than more animal supplies for the dormice. These reptile branches are great. They offer them climbing opportunities. So dormice are arboreal, which means they climb. So it's really important that you have height as well as floor space for them in the enclosure. Here I am just burying some of their hides into the soil to promote them to dig into it a little bit and form little burrows, hopefully. I really want to give them all the opportunities to both dig and climb so that they can exhibit all their natural behaviours as they would do in the wild. I'm just adding some different types of trees just to make it more varied for them. As I add stuff in, I am going to move stuff around a lot. Adding lots of different stuff just gives them more enrichment, and hopefully they'll have more enjoyment out of the enclosure. Then I've got these cute ceramic hides. Ceramic hides are great because they can keep cool in the summer and hold heat in the winter. So these are really great addition to temperature sensitive animals' enclosures. As you can see, it's starting to look quite busy, but that's great. They like busy, semi-crowded enclosures. This helps them feel safe. They are naturally a prey animal, so it's great to give them a safe enclosure. Then adding these really cute food bowls, which look like little tree trunks, and some nice water dispensers. I think these are actually for birds, but they're great for dormice as they've got easy access to water, as they're too small for most water bottles, but you don't want a large water bowl as this could be dangerous for them, so these are great. Then going to add some more hanging stuff for them to climb on. This is a bird toy I have for them, but they love scrambling up it. And this really cute little acorn hide, I cannot remember where I got it from, but I just think it's adorable and it's the perfect size for dormice to hide in. And then of course I need a coconut hide. I am sure that every small animal owner and reptile owner have one of these. They are really common, but they are great. And then it's time to add some different bedding in. So this is actually tortoise edible bedding, but it's just different edible grasses, which is also safe for dormice. I'm just going to add this into some of their hides. I'm also attaching a few bits to the top of the enclosure just to give them lots of climbing opportunities. So as you can see, it's looking really nice now. I'm adding this little bowl which I use for any supplements such as honey that I add to their diet. And then finally I'm adding some more leaf litter. This is just to go on top of the current substrate. As I mentioned earlier, I'm not currently adding a cleanup crew in because I want to see how the dormice respond to living in this environment. But long term I hope to go fully bioactive by adding a cleanup crew in, and maybe even some plants depending on how they do with the dormice. I'm just adding some more moss as well. I'm really loving how this is looking, and here it is all finished. I'm sure I will change a few bits as time goes on, but I love the natural look of it and I hope my dormice will thrive in it. Now I've just got to add the glass doors to the front of it. I tend to take these off when I'm cleaning out or redoing the enclosure as it just gives better access. dormice are quite small and they can slide out of tiny gaps, so it's important to have a really secure enclosure. Here I am just adding the lock to keep it safe. Now it's time to add the dormice in. So as I said, I've got 3 dormice, they are all males. I keep a single sex colony as I don't wish for any extra additions. They're not 100% tame, hence why wearing the gloves. Dormice are really hard to tame. They're not the most handable of pets, so they're much more of a watch animal, but they are so entertaining to watch and they are lovely little creatures. So here I am just adding them all in. They are also quite fast little things. So here they are exploring their new home. They are very inquisitive little creatures, so I hope they enjoy exploring their new surroundings. They have lots to look at. So as I said, I do plan to make a few changes over time to make it even better for them, but I'm really happy with how this initial bit has turned out. So for more dormice content along with lots of other animals, please like and subscribe and follow along for their next part. Hope to see you soon. Bye!